I want you all to imagine this enormous resort in Nashville, Tennessee. It's 2018, and I was attending a business conference there. There were hundreds of us standing in line waiting for those doors to open. Suddenly, the person in front of me turns around, and I watched his eyes slowly scan me from top to bottom. And then he looked me straight in the eyes and asked, "What's wrong with you?" "Oh, I contracted polio as a baby," and when I looked up, he had already disappeared into the crowd, didn't even wait for my answer. There was this statement in that question. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with me? That familiar, painful feeling cuts me again. When I contracted polio as a baby in Bolivia at 10 months old, my biological family handed me over to an orphanage where I spent the first 5 years of my life until I was adopted. And when most children would be riding bikes, jumping rope, I was confined to the floor, scrubbing and cleaning, until I discovered my brother's accordion. That little shiny black instrument packed so much power, and the sound was so vibrant and alive. I loved it. And music became the one place I could lose myself and live without judgment. And I practiced until I mastered it, which led me all the way to becoming a world champion. Performance was my happy place, sharing my music, watching my audience's reaction. The stage was my home. Then one day, I was about 15 at the time, a friend of mine came running up to me. "Patricia," they shouted, "I just caught your performance on video. Do you want to see it?" He was so excited to show me, and I had never seen myself perform on stage before. He pressed the play button, and I hear my name announced. "Please welcome Patricia Bartell." I was horrified. I watched this crippled little girl cross the stage with her crutches. Is that what I look like? Now, for the first time, I didn't know if people appreciated my music or simply felt sorry for this small girl on crutches. I was crushed because I felt different. All of us have an internal similar question tied to a perceived flaw we see as a defect. And if we don't change the question, "What's wrong with me?" or "Why am I so stupid?" or "Why am I not enough?" it'll hold us back. And it holds us back because it's not just a question. It's a statement of self-judgment. That question implies you have a problem. What's the question you are all asking? I wish I had learned earlier in life about this mind trick that we play on ourselves that in psychology they call the spotlight effect. It tricks us into believing that we're constantly being scrutinized or judged when people weren't judging me. They were reflecting the way I already saw myself. What would happen if we took questions like, "What's wrong with you?" and turned them into empowering questions like, "What's your story?" Because we all have wounds and stories that deserve to be shared. And we all have the power to change the question and the meaning we assign it, which controls the emotions you feel. The quality of the questions you ask will determine the quality of the life you will live. My life-altering question: what meaning had I attached to these crutches? We all have crutches, whether invisible or visible. I had let mine define me as limited and unlovable. But now I see them as the fuel that gave me this insatiable drive and hunger to be the best at whatever I do. They help me become the world champion, the entrepreneur, the business owner. They even help me achieve this dream, to stand on this stage, right here, right now, in front of you. We all have crutches, whether internal or external, that we try to hide. But the task is to redefine them. How? First, identify your limiting question. My music students, they get so excited for their big performance until the big moment arrives. And then suddenly they get so self-conscious of every mistake or word slip. Big moments expose invisible crutches. And they surface in voices like, "Why am I so stupid?" Or, "Why can't I do anything right?" It's in these moments of tension where you can identify your limiting question. Secondly, and this one is critical, every emotion is tied to an internal question. And if you change this question, you change the emotion. Change what you see, and what you see changes. And finally, redefine your crutches. For too many years, I was ashamed of these, hiding, trying to go unnoticed, afraid of rejection. But then I learned that my superpower was hidden inside these. I have traveled all over the world because these made me mobile. But I couldn't take on the world until I accepted all of me. And now I wake up every morning and say, I was made for this. So stop hiding, love yourself, and redefine your crutches. You are not broken. You don't need fixing, and there's nothing wrong with you. Your power is found when you embrace your crutches, making you unstoppable. I am deeply grateful for this gift that continually propels me forward. And this is what I want to leave with you. Know that your crutches are not the problem. There's nothing wrong with me, and there's nothing wrong with you. Change your question to change your emotion, and redefine your crutches so you go from crutches to crushing it and live a life of possibility. I'm Patricia Bartell. Thank you.